there will be other extreme on both sides. One will ask, this is not good enough, we want a separate state. That will never happen. I think even if even if Sri Lanka will tolerate that, we will never tolerate. India will not tolerate. India doesn't want a separate state. I mean, that could escalate unnecessary tendencies in your country also.
You're on StratNews Global. I am Nitin Gokhale. Today, our special guest in this particular conversation is Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabry, man who's about town these days and actually selling the Sri Lanka story very well. So let me welcome Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabry to this conversation and begin the chat.
Thank you for having me, Nitin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always good to
Thank you.
talk.
So, yeah, good. And thank you for sparing time on a Sunday. But I know you're busy schedule, so I think this was a time that was available. But let me begin by taking a first look at where do you see India Sri Lanka relationship right now? Because President Vikramasinghe was here exactly a year ago. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar was in Sri Lanka recently, immediately after being sworn in as minister for the second time. So just give a bit of a review of or an overview of where we are right now.
I think Sri Lanka-India relationship is probably, in my assessment, is an all-time high. We have had a long-standing relationship, and of course, we have been ups and downs in any relationship. But if you look at the way Indians responded in 2022 during our economic crisis, have played a massive implant in hearts and minds of the Sri Lankan people. Of course, there are still, I mean, any democracy will have different politicians giving their own opinion. But all in all, Sri Lankan public are extremely grateful for what Indians did, and that have paved the way for a greater partnership. And number one, number two is everyone sees who sensible. There is a huge opportunity to tag along with the Indian success story, which is rolling. So and people see that this is India's opportunity. Like everyone has their opportunities in different decades, right? European Union had theirs, North America had theirs, Southeast Asian countries like ASEAN had theirs, and GCC had their time. Mainland China had their time. We honestly believe here in Sri Lanka, this is the next couple of decades. Belongs to India and South Asia, and India will lead that. So with that, there is a lot of opportunity. As a matter of fact, and a lot of things that we have been talking for a long period of time between India and Sri Lanka are getting materialized. Serious investment is coming. We are trying to connect our two grids into the system where electricity could go this way, that way, depending on the demand. So many good things, and connectivity is taking place. A second airline is flying to Jaffna. We are looking at expanding Jaffna. Kankasan today had been expanded, and Indians have now decided to not to give a soft loan, but to do it as a grant. So I see there a lot of opportunity coming in, and I see this is a
True.
win-win situation.
Yeah, indeed. On the IMF bailout, we'll come back to the India Sri Lanka part of the relationship. But on the IMF bailout package, what's the progress there? Because I think very hard negotiations are going on from what one can see, really.
Yeah, I think IMF negotiations have gone pretty well, and I think it's a difficult. Any country which undergoes an IMF program has to take very difficult calls. So that sometimes goes against politics on the ground level. But credit to President Vikramasinghe, he had taken those very difficult decisions, but those are paying rich dividends now. So IMF had released the second tranche, third tranche, in fact, second review were finalized. So as a result of which there is a lot of confidence in the system, and results are there to see. For example, inflation, which was running at about 70%, have come down to 1.67% for the last month. Reserve, which were 20 million US dollars, have gone up to close to about 6 billion US dollars right now. Tourists are coming back, and for the first time after 6 years of a period, we have a primary account balance. And that restructuring, which was very important part of the entire IMF program on the basis of their debt sustainable analysis, we call it a DSA, is taking shape. Sri Lankan local debt restructuring are done and dusted, and we are very happy that India played a crucial role in coming out with as a common platform with Japan and France, as a result of which bilateral credits are also almost done and dusted. We are in the final phase of restructuring the sovereign debt. Sovereign debt we have agreed in principle with the bondholders and Sri Lanka. Now IMF has to look at that, whether this fall within their ambit of long-term debt sustainability analysis which we provided. So all in all, things are going in the right direction, and growth has returned to Sri Lanka. Last quarter we had about 5.3% of growth. So all in all economic indicators are good. So what is important for us is to continuity of this program across government, across the parliaments, so that these difficult reforms we have undertaken, results we have achieved, continue for a longer period of time, so there will not be reversal, just like what happened in your country in early 90s. To the credit of your politician across the party line, despite all the difficulties, they continued the momentum of those beautiful openings, but they made it in early 90s across the party line, and today I think Indians are reaping the benefits.
True. You spoke about various projects between India and Sri Lanka, and also how every region has its opportunity. Like South Asia is going to have. Looks like we are on the cusp of that. In that respect, there are projects of connectivity, both physical connectivity and electricity grids, energy security to be brought in. Give us some highlights about where we are. You spoke about the airlines and the ferry services, but what about electricity grids being connected across, say, Sri Lanka and India and Sri Lanka and other countries, and also energy sustainability or energy security for the region?
Yeah, precisely. I think Indians are now basically we are in the last stage of connectivity. I think we will connect grids as soon as possible. So once the grid is connected, a lot of investment are coming from India. Several projects of renewable energy in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka being a tropical island and close to a country, particularly the southern provinces in the Indian India. So there is a lot of opportunity for us to connect those grids together. So basically, that's happening. And once that happened, particularly we have done a study of our onshore and offshore wind possibilities, particularly across the Pork Strait. It is very, very high. So there are a lot of opportunities for both country win-win situation. And then apart from that, we are also trying to improve and develop the Trincomalee whole region as a hub for Indian investment, probably with the EEC, their economic zone there, as well as export processing zone there, as well as looking at the Trincomalee Harbour development. Planning on energy security and sustainability on the long run for the region. And of course, there is a particular west terminal in the Colombo Harbour is being built by now with Indian investment, and the DFC of the American Development Finance Corporation putting in a lot of money also in. So all in all, there is a lot of interest and momentum in the projects what Sri Lanka and Indians have been doing for a long period of time.
Yes, in fact, that is something which both countries should be proud of, the way it has sort of been planned and now being executed. All the connectivity projects and also the people to people contacts then increase really, which has been the strength of the relationship. But there are, of course, in any relationship, there are wrinkles. There are, some spots which are not very comfortable, or some aspects. So, two of them I'll flag, and I'll like your responses to that. One is, of course, the Chinese research ships, or as in India they are called spy ships, coming to Sri Lankan ports. And recently, I think there have been some discussions about it between the two countries, between the three countries perhaps, but you can shed some light. And the second issue is on the fishermen's issue between India and Sri Lanka, but that you can answer a little later. But first, the ships.
Yeah. I think basically what we have continuously stated, that we would continue to like to be a neutral country, and maintain our non-aligned foreign policy. As a result of which, we will work with everyone, but there will be limitations, and of course, those limitations are that whatever the engagement which we will do will not allow any third party to use our land or our sea or our waters to be used against the legitimate security interest of India or any neighboring country. I mean, given that that our legacy is we will not allow anyone to have any war games in our neighborhood. We will not allow that, and that's not. We don't want that. We want to de-escalate tension. Subject to that, of course, there is being a maritime hub and a country in a very strategic location. We would also want to exploit whatever the opportunities available to Sri Lanka. So it is in that sense there was some of the research work took place over a period of time, but then we have listened to some of the concerns of our friends, and we have said that until Sri Lanka improves its ability to understand really what is research is, and the capacity of the research, and what kind of data that Sri Lanka could use, and what is suitable for Sri Lanka, we have temporarily put forward a moratorium for the entire year of 2024. In the meantime, we have gone to the cabinet and asked to appoint a subcommittee to look into capacity building of the Sri Lankan authorities, so that they understand the whole gambit of this thing. So until such time, no further visits will take place on the basis of research in Sri Lankan voters. So that's the situation now. Toward the end of the year, probably we will reassess the situation where we are, but in doing so, we will take into consideration all the concerns of our friends, both near and far, particularly the Indian concerns. So, we could assure at this point in time, we will not knowingly or unknowingly be part of anything which could really harm the Indian security. That's number one. Subject to that, of course, just like your country is working with India, being with China being the largest trading partner, and SCO, you all are working very closely on that, as well as BRICS. You are looking at alternatives to the hegemonies what is in the world. We would like to continue to work with different partners while not threatening anyone else's security. I think that's a sensible way of looking at this. So we'll continue to do so. That's how I have to say. That's what I have to say at this point in time about the research ship. And let me again reassure that we will not allow anything which could legitimately harm which would in any way harm the legitimate security concerns of our greatest neighbor for a long, long period of time. For me, the most important relationship is our relationship with India.
Right. No, no, it's very well clarified. I think it's very well put also, the way you have explained. Coming to the fishermen's issue, I think that also worries authorities on both sides. It's a humanitarian issue, I'm aware, but what are your thoughts on that?
I know this is a serious issue and been there for a long, long period of time. Very humanitarian issue, both for our fishermen and your fishermen also. I think for the time being, what we should do is to sit and negotiate with each other. When your external affairs minister came to Sri Lanka, I had a chat with him during our bilateral consultation. I told that we need to sit and resolve this, and he also had an opportunity to talk to my fisheries minister, Mr. Honorable Douglas Devananda, who comes from the northern province, because his people are directly affected also by this ongoing fishing tussle between the two countries. So I think we need to sit and negotiate and some closed door discussions and throw all options available, so that we will not have unnecessary tensions going forward. It's important why we have thrived for a long period of time, why this our relationship had been very stable for a long, long period of time, is because our leaders and forefathers have very, very carefully negotiated those things, and once and for all concluded the border dispute. Once you have a border dispute, it's unnecessary tension, and third parties can come and exploit that. I think we are very. I'm happy that. Our leaderships, both sides of the divide, are very mature. They understand the ramification, and therefore, I'm sure we will not allow this to escalate out of control, and we will sit and negotiate with each other and find a solution which could be termed as win-win for both countries.
True. I think that needs to be solved as soon as possible to the satisfaction of both the sides. Also, since you spoke about the northern areas, India's consistent concern has been about the Tamil issue and the reconciliation, and as well as the constitution amendment for the rights of the Tamils. On that issue, have you had discussions with Indian leadership, and what is the current position of the Sri Lankan government on that issue?
That's a very good question. I think one very good thing about this year's elections, and I know that you closely follow the development in Sri Lanka, you would have seen by now there are three main candidates are emerging for the first time in the Sri Lankan history. President Wickremesinghe, the incumbent president, probably will be supported by the ruling SLPP, and then, of course, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Sajid Premadasa, and Honorable Andrakumar Disanayake, who is the leader of the leftist Marxist JVP alliance. So all these three parties, if you very carefully analyze their positions with regard to the ethnic issue, for the first time in the Sri Lankan history, are taking saying that devolution of power is a must. It doesn't lead to divide the country, and provincial council is there to stay, and they're not going to roll that back. So it's a great achievement as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. I think this is the first massive positive development at the elections. So that with that, if a meaningful provincial council system could be put in place, Tamils in the north as well as the east and the minorities will feel that they are also part of the governance rather than somebody is governing them. No, unfortunately, over a period of 75 years or so, unlike the Indian origin Tamils and the Muslims who have been part of the governance with the coalition of the majority,
Right.
Tamil leadership have continuously refused to be part of the government in the center. I honestly feel, as a further minority person, that's not the right thing to do. I would have thought that they should have been part of it. While being inside, you should have fought for your thing, because Sri Lanka is not like any other country. Sri Lanka has it's a constitutional governance in terms of Article 12, like a country, ensure equality for all Sri Lankan, irrespective of their race, religion, culture, language, and all those things. So there is so much we can do. So therefore, unfortunately, they have taken this decision of either federal or nothing kind of an approach, which are not worked. Sometimes you need to slowly make progress on a gradual basis. So given that circumstances, I think it's a good achievement for all Sri Lankan three main candidates to come out of rhetorics and come out and say that yes, evolution is a must. Provincial council is there to stay, and power has to be devolved, and people in the periphery must devolve their power. So I'm sure in this narrative, this is the majority narrative of Sri Lankans. There will be other extreme on both sides. One will ask, "This is not good enough. We want a separate state." That will never happen. I think even if even if Sri Lanka will tolerate that, we will never tolerate. India will not tolerate. India doesn't
Yes.
want a separate state. I mean, that could escalate unnecessary tendencies in your country also. So we need to put that end to it. And similarly, there is a misguided notion in the south. Some of them will use the fact that devolution of power is the forerunner, or the beginning of a separate state, which is also not true. Like we have seen that in all over the world, particularly in the Europe, small countries. For example, if you look at Belgium, Swiss, and all those things, they're very powerful confederations, and people rule themselves, but they are also united and in a common identity. For me, what I want is a common Sri Lankan identity, while everyone preserving their own cultural and linguistic identities. Because I have understood in Sri Lanka, for Sinhalese, it's important, their country, they feel this is the only country they have in the whole world. And for Muslims, their religion, anything, they will tolerate anything, but not the religion. For the Tamils, most important thing, I think we have to realize that their culture and their language is very, very important. So we have to accommodate all these things to create that inclusive Sri Lankan identity. I'm sure this election will be a landmark and milestone in our journey towards really regaining the Sri Lankan common identity and making some serious inroad into make reconciliation which is lasting.
Excellent thought, I think, Minister Sabri, because That's something that one has been looking forward for last 40 years after the ethnic trouble broke out really in a very violent way. Hopefully, all this will be behind us as we go forward. Finally, when do you expect the elections to take place? Just a final question to you. I know you're not actively the decision maker in that sense, but what are your expectations there?
In terms of the constitution, after the 17th of July, the power of deciding the date for election will be transferred to the election commission, which is independent. No politics is involved in that. So in terms of the
Right,
constitution itself, election has to be held between 17th of September and 17th of October. Because the incumbent president could only hold post for a maximum period of 5 years less 1 month. So 5 years less 1 month
right.
is 17th July. Election Commission cannot call election before 17th of July, 17th of September,
September.
because
Mhm.
in terms of the constitution, you have to, at minimum, you have to govern 5 years less 2 months. Maximum
Right.
you can govern is 5 months, for 5 years less 1 month. So there is a window of 1 month period. So elections will be held from the 17th of between the on a day between 17th of September and 17th of October.
That's the lawyer in you speaking the details, all the absolute details of the constitution. But thank you very much, Minister Sabri, for your time and your insights. As usual, a brilliant exposition of where Sri Lanka is and where it is expecting to head in coming years. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure too. Thank you. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. So keep watching StratNews Global. You know where to reach us. That was Minister Ali Sabri of Sri Lanka, Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, speaking to us. We will keep getting you these such interesting interviews and the insights from around the region as well as the world. For the time being, it's goodbye.